I remember a long time ago, the only thing that people criticize about Xiaomi phones is the camera. But ever since the Ultra series was launched, photography is no longer its weak point. The recently released Xiaomi 15 Ultra represents the pinnacle of Xiaomi's imaging technology. It is undoubtedly one of the best camera phones this year. However, after using for a few days, I feel like the progress isn't as significant as I had imagined. Why is that? So let's start with the proud telephoto camera. On paper, the new telephoto camera on the 15 Ultra seems much better than the one on the 14 Ultra. This sensor is the same as the one used in Vivo's two flagship models. The difference is that the Xiaomi's focal length is longer and the aperture is slightly larger. I know you must be eager to see a camera comparison between the 15 Ultra and various other flagships, and that will be covered in another video. For now, let's take a look at how it has improved compared to its predecessor. First, I want to tell you that although the 14 Ultra has a 5x telephoto camera, its field of view is similar to the 15 Ultra's 4.3x. The image quality is also comparable, and it doesn't show the huge improvement mentioned at the launch event. In fact, due to the further reduction in sharpening, some photos appear even blurrier than those taken with the previous model. For most photos taken during the day, the image quality of both phones is almost identical. The 15 Ultra's advantages mainly lie in exposure, color style, and AI zoom. It increases exposure when the subject is relatively dark. When shooting food, the saturation is boosted, whether in Leica Vibrant or Authentic mode. Although the 15 Ultra can achieve a shallower, more realistic depth of field effect when shooting portraits, this advantage isn't very noticeable because a similar effect can be simulated through the algorithm on phones. When you zoom in beyond the 20x, AI zoom can be activated and there's an auto mode available. When shooting simple scenes such as a toy cake on a table, although both phones perform well, it's clear that the 15 Ultra's photos are better. The 14 Ultra's photos resemble medieval oil paintings. The same result appears in more complex scenes. Every line is clearer in the 15 Ultra's photos. However, as you continue to zoom in, the advantage gradually diminishes. In the end, both photos become completely unusable. Therefore, my advice is not to take photos beyond the 30x. Firstly, because it's hard to keep your hand steady, and once your hand shakes, the image quality with the AI zoom also decreases. Secondly, if the subject is moving, you might end up creating a monster. When night falls, the telephoto performance of the Xiaomi 15 Ultra does improve, but it still doesn't create a significant gap compared to the 14 Ultra. It's hard to say that the 15 Ultra is vastly superior. It has slightly less noise and a bit better dynamic range. That's about it. Its true strength is only visible in almost no light. AI zoom doesn't work well under such low light conditions. However, it still performs a bit better than the 14 Ultra. Do you think this performance meets your expectations? In any case, this camera is worse than I imagined. So you really don't need to replace your 14 Ultra just for this 100mm telephoto camera, especially since your ultra-wide-angle camera is even better. Yes, the ultra-wide-angle camera on the 15 Ultra has regressed compared to last year, whether it's the sensor size, focal length, or aperture. There has been a downgrade to varying degrees. The dynamic range of the photos has worsened, leading to underexposure in high-contrast scenes. Surprisingly, the clarity and noise control of the 15 Ultra was slightly better than the 14 Ultra, possibly due to improvements in the new ISP and algorithms. What I find most intolerable, however, is the change in focal length from 12mm to 14mm. The narrow field of view means a reduction in visual impact. Considering that a part of the frame is cropped when EIS is activated during video recording, this camera no longer deserves the name ultra-wide camera. I'm not singling out the Xiaomi. I hold this opinion for all phones that use a 14 to 16mm lens. It's not just the ultra-wide-angle camera that has regressed, the main camera has also taken a step back. Although I'm not a fan of variable apertures, it's indeed a pity to lose this feature. The 14 Ultra could reduce the depth of field by narrowing the aperture, something the 15 Ultra can no longer do. The advantages in documented photography and video recording are also gone. Apart from these, other aspects are only slightly better than the 14 Ultra. Thanks to the new processor, there's a slight improvement in clarity, really just a slight one. The new coating and filter do help reduce lens flare, but at the cost of lowering the contrast of the photos. Now, let's move on to the other telephoto camera. This telephoto camera is probably the only one rear cameras that has remained almost unchanged, except for a slight reduction in focal length from 75mm to 70mm. This adjustment makes sense as it shouldn't be too close to the 100mm one. This camera is the one I use most frequently in my daily life, and I'm very glad it hasn't been cancelled or downgraded. Besides being convenient for everyday life documentation, its macro function also offers a unique perspective to observe the world. However, be careful not to use the macro mode for photography as the white balance can become quite odd. For macro shots, simply use the auto mode and get close to the subject. This focal length is also very suitable for shooting portraits, and of course, so is the 100mm telephoto camera. The two telephoto cameras ensure that this phone can take excellent portrait photos at any distance. Since the front-facing camera is exactly the same as the one on the 14 Ultra, there's naturally no difference in image quality. Similar to the rear cameras, there are only slight differences in skin tone. It still supports 4K 60fps video recording. For the rear camera, they all support up to 8K 30fps video recording. The main camera and the 100mm telephoto camera support the 4K 120fps recording. During the day, whether it's the main camera or the ultra-wide angle camera, the image quality is quite similar, with the 15 Ultra having an edge in stability. At night, the main camera's performance remains comparable, but the difference in the ultra-wide angle camera becomes much more noticeable. The 15 Ultra shows more noticeable shaking in the footage. However, if the phone is stationary, the 15 Ultra has less noise. So it's hard to declare a clear winner in video recording, especially at night, as both still lag behind the iPhone. As for the ACES certification and the log mode, these are certainly great features for photographers. These topics can be fully explained in just a few sentences, so remember to subscribe to our channel as we will dive deeper into these new features in another video. Compared to improvements in image quality, the enhancements in the camera experience are more immediately noticeable. Xiaomi has completely redesigned the UI of the camera app on the 15 Ultra. The camera preview UI has been shifted downward, and the mode selection interface now opens with an upward swipe, clearly favoring one-handed operation. Various functions in the camera settings have been characterized, making it easier to find the features you need. Options like metering preferences, auto-adjust lenses, and shutter speed can all be customized. This is one of the key reasons I enjoy taking photos with the Xiaomi phones. A new Leica watermark has been added, which looks better than the previous one. The fast shutter mode has also been revamped, making the camera preview feel more like an actual camera. Overall, I'm very satisfied with the new UI design. To be honest, all the camera upgrades on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra were within my expectations. However, the photography kit turned out to be surprisingly good. First, the more refined appearance. The softer leather combined with the golden metal grip elevates its design to the pinnacle of Xiaomi's craftsmanship. The replaceable shutter button and filter system significantly enhance the kit's versatility. With a 67mm diameter, once you attach your own filters, no one would doubt this is a professional camera. The larger battery, combined with the phone's internal battery, can reach up to 8,000 mAh. Additionally, plugging in a charging cable can charge the phone at 90 watts. The new handle allows you to adjust the charging settings, preventing the issue where the handle would completely drain if you unused it for a while. Most importantly, the physical shutter button provides users with a very positive tactile feedback. But Xiaomi always seems to stumble on some details. For example, if you buy the vegan leather version, the cutouts on the phone case won't expose the logo. The zoom dial isn't very responsive, so I find that tapping the screen to zoom is faster and more convenient than using the dial. The new photography kit also doesn't work properly with the 14 Ultra, as the video recording button and EV wheel will malfunction. Additionally, there's currently a bug with the handle. When the phone stands by, it occasionally experiences reconnection issues. Despite these areas for improvement, I still recommend purchasing this new photography kit. No photography enthusiast can resist turning their phone into a Leica camera. I've already talked enough about the design of the Xiaomi 15 Ultra in the hands-on video, so I won't go into too much detail here. Whether it's ugly or beautiful is subjective and depends on individual taste. However, one thing is certain, compared to the 14 Ultra, the camera layout is less harmonious. Functionally, the 15 Ultra doesn't lack anything. If you buy the global version, you will also have access to eSIM, but there are some details you should be aware of. For example, the two vegan leather versions are not the lightest. The black and white versions use a fiberglass instead of a glass, making them the most practical choices for a usability perspective. A new NFC coil has been added inside the camera module, making NFC usage more convenient than the previous generation. There are also slight differences in band coverage between the Chinese and global versions. If you don't live in China, the global version will offer slightly better signal coverage. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite is an excellent chip, currently one of the strongest processors in terms of both performance and power efficiency. Although the Xiaomi 15 Ultra's strength doesn't lie in this area, Qualcomm has done such a great job that the improvement over the 14 Ultra is still significant. Whether it's benchmarks or gaming, this is no longer a weak point for the Xiaomi Ultra series. However, don't treat it as a gaming phone, as it lacks features like a game frame interpolation, bypass charging, and a camera module can get in the way of your fingers. If you absolutely must use a phone for long gaming sessions, I'd still recommend the Pro version. The Ultra isn't designed for gamers. The screen on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is identical to the Pro version. This isn't surprising, as they did the same thing last year. It's a screen that, while not the absolute best, is still excellent. It would be even better if it were flat. Since we purchased the Chinese version of the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, the battery is larger than the global version, reaching 6,000 mAh. So battery life has significantly improved. As a result, charging time has become longer, with the maximum 90-watt charging power taking 53 minutes to fully charge the phone, which is a middling performance. The wireless charging coil is still positioned lower. To charge wirelessly normally, you will need to prop the phone up or hang it on the wireless charging base. Or you can purchase Xiaomi's latest wireless charging standard kit, available on geekwheels.com. Every time when I review Xiaomi phones, there are people say that I'm a hater of Xiaomi and I'm being too harsh on them. On the contrary, I've been using Xiaomi phones for 7 years. It's impossible to stick with them for so long without love. Every time I review a Xiaomi phone, it feels like watching my own child grow up. They need encouragement, but they also need to be corrected when they make mistakes. Just like this Xiaomi 15 Ultra, it's truly impressive and few phones can outperform it. However, as Xiaomi's latest flagship, it doesn't really outshine its sibling, the 14 Ultra, by much. That's why I feel a bit disappointed, but there's one thing that makes me very happy: the modular optical system. If it truly goes into mass production, I won't hesitate to praise it when the time comes. Okay, if you want to see more in-depth review of phones, remember to subscribe to our channel. This is Will from Gizmochina, recording this video from Barcelona, and I will see you next time.